If you woke up tomorrow with $0, no connections, no favors, no shortcuts, could you build $1 million from nothing? That is not a hypothetical question. That is a real question for real people living in the real world. And if you have the courage to face it, you might uncover a truth that most people are afraid to admit. You do not need money to create value. You need clarity about the value you already carry inside. Success does not begin with resources. It begins with responsibility. It begins when you stop waiting to be rescued and start showing up with what you have. It begins when you stop asking for the perfect time and become the person who makes time count. We live in a world that teaches us to believe that money equals power, that opportunity belongs to those with leverage. But if you look closely, the people who truly changed the world did not start with what they had. They started with what they believed. And what they believed mattered more than what they lacked. $1 million is not built on greed. It is built on commitment. Commitment to value. Commitment to service. Commitment to keep going even when the path is unclear. But most of all, commitment to the idea that you are not here to settle. If you think you need capital to begin, you are asking the wrong question. Do not ask, how much money do I need to start? Ask this instead. What can I do right now that brings value to others? So much so that they would pay me even before I have anything to show. That is where the journey begins. Not in your bank account, but in the account within you. Your belief, your willingness to work, your commitment to growth, your ability to see value where others only see risk. Because once you build from the inside, no one can take it away. And if you are strong enough to keep building, then money is no longer the goal. It becomes the result. Most people wait. They wait for the perfect strategy. They wait for the ideal conditions. They wait for confidence. And while they wait, the window closes. What separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck is not how smart they are. It is not how connected they are. It is how fast they act. Not recklessly, not blindly, but deliberately, boldly, repeatedly. Action is the bridge between belief and result. You can read every book, listen to every podcast, follow every mentor, but until you move, nothing changes. Until you step, nothing shifts. The ones who create results are not the ones who sit and plan forever. They are the ones who are willing to look foolish for a while. The ones who are not afraid to get it wrong before they get it right. They act. Then they adjust. Then they act again. That is how growth happens. Not in a perfect straight line, but in messy, repeated motion. Every successful business you admire was built on mistakes. Every high performer you respect has a long trail of failed attempts behind them, but they are not remembered for those moments. They are remembered because they kept going. You will never outthink fear. You will never outplan failure. The only way forward is through motion, because every time you act, you collect information. You gather truth. You get clearer, and clarity is what builds momentum. Do not aim for flawless execution. Aim for fast correction. Start, see what works, then refine. The most dangerous thing is not doing it wrong. The most dangerous thing is doing nothing. Many people say they are waiting for clarity. But clarity is not something you find. It is something you earn. You earn it through action, through trying, through failing, through noticing what resonates and what does not. Success is not built in theory. It is built in repetition. You do not get strong by reading about push-ups. You get strong by doing them again and again, even when you are tired, even when they hurt. And the same goes for building wealth. The offer does not get better unless you test it. The skills do not sharpen unless you use them. The confidence does not rise unless you earn it through effort. Start where you are. Use what you know. Give what you have. And then move. The first step does not have to be big. It just has to be yours. Do not wait for everything to make sense before you begin. Begin, and you will start to make sense of everything. Because the difference between people who dream and people who build is simple. Builders move. Every great business is built on one thing, an offer so compelling that it makes people stop, lean in, and say, I need that. Not I want that. Not I will think about it. I need that. That is what separates a struggling entrepreneur from a category leader. The clarity of the value they create and the precision of how they deliver it. An irresistible offer is not about discounts or persuasion. It is about transformation. It is about helping someone get from where they are to where they want to be, faster, easier, better. That is what people pay for. Not your time, not your labor, not your process. They pay for the outcome they desire and the experience of getting there without frustration. Most offers fail not because they are bad, but because they are vague. They talk about features. They list benefits. But they never paint a picture that feels personal, urgent, and undeniable. The key is this. Make the value so obvious that saying yes feels like common sense. When your offer solves a painful problem, delivers a clear result, and removes as much effort and time as possible, you no longer need to convince. You only need to invite. To do that, you must study the person you are trying to serve. You must understand what they struggle with, what they fear, what they hope for. You must know their language, their timeline, their expectations. Then, you build your offer not around your ego, but around their transformation. You remove what is unnecessary. You emphasize what matters most. You take the risk off their shoulders and put it on yours. That is what makes people trust. That is what makes people act. Your job is not to build a product you love. Your job is to build a result they need. The more specific the promise, the stronger the reaction. The clearer the path, the lower the resistance. And when you get it right, you no longer chase people. People come to you, not because you are loud, but because your value speaks louder than your words. This is not about selling. This is about serving through clarity. If you know how to solve a problem, and you can explain it better than your customer can, they will believe you can fix it. That is how you build demand. That is how you build trust. That is how you build revenue that lasts. You do not need to be the best. You need to be the clearest. Make your offer so valuable that not working with you feels like a loss. And when you do that, you stop competing on price. You start competing on impact. That is the moment everything changes. That is the moment your offer becomes undeniable. The fastest way to kill long-term growth is to chase short-term savings. Too many people believe that cutting costs is how you build wealth. But you do not grow by shrinking. You grow by expanding value. You grow by solving bigger problems in deeper ways for more people. That is how you build something that lasts. Cutting expenses can protect a business in crisis, but it cannot carry a vision. If all you do is trim the budget, you may survive a season, but you will never lead the market. Because the winners are not the ones who reduce the most. The winners are the ones who give the most clarity, the most impact, the most transformation, the most trust. That does not mean you should spend recklessly. It means you should invest strategically. Put your time, your money, and your energy into things that multiply. Systems that create leverage. Skills that increase your capacity. Offers that deliver results faster and cleaner than anyone else. These are not costs. These are engines. They pay you back in reach, in reputation, in revenue. And the truth is, people do not stay loyal because you are cheap. They stay loyal because you change their lives. They do not refer you because you cut prices. They refer you because your service feels like a gift. If your product is easy to forget, it will be easy to replace. But when you add real value, when you give someone a better future, they never forget that. People remember how you made them feel. They remember what you made possible. And when value is your focus, price is no longer the main question. This is where most people get it wrong. They look for what they can cut instead of what they can contribute. They try to save their way to growth, not realizing that real growth comes from serving more, not spending less. You can only cut so far, but value has no ceiling. The better you get at delivering outcomes, the more people want to work with you. The more you can charge, the more you can reinvest, and the more freedom you create. That is the real game. Not just making money, but building something that sustains itself through value. Something that feeds itself because it feeds others first. So instead of asking where you can save, ask where you can serve more powerfully. Instead of asking what you can subtract, ask what you can multiply. Because the future does not belong to the cheapest. It belongs to the most valuable. And when you commit to that level of impact, growth is not just possible, it is inevitable. If value is what people are willing to pay for, then time and effort are the costs they hate most. The longer something takes, the harder it feels, the less attractive it becomes. No one wants to wait. No one wants to struggle. People do not buy your product. They buy the shortcut your product represents. They are not paying you to be busy. They are paying you to help them go further with less pain. That is why the best offers reduce time and reduce effort. They remove friction. They simplify decisions. They make the outcome feel closer than ever. You win not by being complex, but by making life easier for someone else. That is how you earn trust. That is how you become valuable. Look at any world-class product. It saves you time. It saves you energy. It gives you results with fewer steps. That is what people come back for. That is what they talk about. They do not brag about how hard it was. They brag about how easy you made it. In your business, the more effort your client has to put in, the more likely they are to drop off. And if you are honest, you know that ease creates momentum. That momentum turns into consistency. And consistency creates transformation. You do not need to overwhelm people to prove value. You need to reduce their resistance to reach the result. Your job is not to give them more steps. Your job is to remove the steps they do not need. That is not laziness. That is excellence. If you can give them the same outcome in less time, with less confusion, you win their attention and their loyalty. So, design with speed in mind. Design with simplicity in mind. People do not want more. They want better. They want faster. They want easier. When you do that well, you create an experience that feels almost magical. But it is not magic. It is clarity. And clarity creates confidence. That confidence is what turns buyers into believers. You are not here to make them work harder. You are here to show them what is possible with less. Every problem you face has a skill that solves it. That is why success is not found in motivation. It is found in mastery. If you want to build something that lasts, you need more than ambition. You need capability. You need to stack skills that make you useful, credible, and irreplaceable. This is not about being the best in the world at one thing. It is about being dangerously good at a few things that matter most. If you know how to sell, you will never go hungry. If you know how to market, you will never go invisible. If you know how to lead, you will never be alone. These skills compound. Each one builds on the next. And when they combine, they create leverage that money alone cannot buy. People often ask what to invest in first. The answer is simple. Invest in skills that buy you options. Because money can run out, but options give you freedom. Learn to write. Learn to speak. Learn to listen. Learn to close. Learn to teach. Learn to build systems. These are the muscles of value creation. The more you strengthen them, the more impact you make. The more impact you make, the more income you earn. This is how the game works. Skill is the engine. Discipline is the fuel. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You rise to the level of your ability. And the best part is, skills are not inherited. They are earned through practice, through humility, through repetition. You can grow them in silence, long before the world applauds. And by the time the world notices, the foundation will already be unshakable. If you feel stuck, the answer is usually a missing skill. And that is good news, because skills can be learned. Problems lose their power when your ability grows. Stack enough skills, and suddenly the path that felt impossible becomes obvious. You stop asking for opportunity, and you start creating it. That is how freedom is built. Not in one giant leap, but in thousands of small reps. So stop waiting to feel ready. Start becoming ready. Learn the things that no one can take from you. Because when you carry skill, you carry certainty. And certainty builds movements, not just money. Most people avoid risk because they have been taught to fear loss more than they desire growth. But here is the truth. Everything meaningful in your life exists because of a risk you were willing to take. You left something safe. You chose something uncertain. And in that choice, something new was born. The people who rise are not the ones who eliminate risk. They are the ones who understand it. They know that risk is not the enemy. Miscalculated risk is. They do not bet blindly, but they also do not freeze. They study, they prepare, then they move. Every reward you admire came with risk, and the greater the return, the deeper the risk required. That is not weakness. That is the price of change. There is no breakthrough without vulnerability, no leap without leaving something behind. And the reason most people stay small is because they only take risks when the outcome is guaranteed. But risk and certainty cannot exist together. You cannot demand safety and expect greatness at the same time. There is no version of your dream that does not ask you to stretch. No future where you stay the same and still grow. You do not need to gamble. But you do need to move with courage. Take smart risks, educated risks. Risks where the downside is limited and the upside is transformational. Invest in yourself, in your offer, in your learning, in your belief. Because the biggest risk is not failure. It is regret. Regret is the price you pay for choosing comfort over potential. And that price grows heavier the longer you carry it. You do not want to wake up one day knowing that you were capable of more and chose less. That you had the spark and smothered it with fear. So ask yourself this: if the risk you fear leads to the life you want, is it really a risk, or is it the path that was waiting for your decision? The ones who change the world are not reckless. They are just not ruled by fear. They feel it, but they act anyway. That is what separates them, and it can separate you too. If you want to build something that matters, you must stop thinking in days and start thinking in decades. Most people ask how they can grow this month. But the better question is how you can build something that still matters 10 years from now. Long-term thinking gives you power. It creates calm in the middle of chaos. It allows you to make decisions not based on pressure, but based on purpose. When you stretch your timeline, you change your behavior. You stop chasing quick wins and start building deep roots. You stop comparing yourself to others and start focusing on your own process. This is where the 10x mindset begins. You are not here to grow by 10%. You are here to multiply everything. Your skill, your impact, your reach, your clarity. Thinking bigger is not about ego. It is about responsibility. If you are capable of changing one life, you might be capable of changing 100. But you will never know until you stop thinking like a survivor and start thinking like a builder. Short-term goals are useful, but they should serve a long-term vision. If you have no vision beyond this month, you will keep building things that collapse in the next one. You must ask yourself, what kind of future am I really building? Who am I becoming while I build it? And what would I do differently if I knew this mattered for the rest of my life? The 10x mindset is not about speed. It is about depth. It is about going all in, not just halfway. Most people do just enough to not fail, but the ones who rise are the ones who do more than what is required. They build systems. They invest in foundations. They stay consistent long after motivation fades, because they are not chasing applause. They are chasing mastery. And that is what makes the difference. So stop shrinking your vision to fit your circumstances. Start stretching your belief to fit your calling. This is not about being perfect. It is about being committed. The long game is not for the lazy, but it is the only game where freedom is real. Play it well, and you will never need to start over again. Clarity is only powerful when it is followed by action. Insight means nothing if it does not turn into execution. This is where strategy becomes transformation. The steps are not complicated, but they do require commitment. Step 1. Start with the skills you already have. Do not wait for permission or perfection. Ask yourself what you can do right now that solves a problem for someone else. That is where money starts to move. Step 2. Identify a hungry market. Do not chase random attention. Focus on people who are already looking for what you offer. Solve real pain. The clearer the pain, the more urgent the need. Step 3. Build an offer that feels like a shortcut. Reduce the time. Reduce the effort. Increase the outcome. The best offer is the one that removes resistance and delivers transformation faster than expected. Step 4. Communicate your value clearly. Do not talk about what you do. Talk about what they get. The result is the product. Sell the outcome, not the ingredients. Step 5. Deliver what you promise. Integrity is currency. When people trust you, they return, they refer, they grow your business for you. Step 6. Reinvest your profits into systems. Automate what can be repeated. Delegate what can be taught. Focus your energy where you are most effective. Step 7. Stack your skills. Keep learning, keep sharpening, keep stretching. The more you can do, the more you can adapt. Step 8. Embrace risk wisely. Do not play safe when your future is at stake. Move with wisdom, but do not wait forever. Step 9. Protect your vision. Avoid distractions. Avoid noise. What matters is progress, not popularity. And finally, step 10. Think in decades, not days. Let your decisions reflect your destination. The long game rewards those who stay consistent. This is not theory. This is how people build freedom. One decision at a time. One offer at a time. One act of service at a time. The strategy is simple. The execution is hard, but it works. If you work it, the path from 0 to 1 million is not about luck. It is not about waiting for a miracle or hoping someone will come to save you. It is about clarity, value, and action. It is about learning to trust your ability to solve problems, to serve people, and to build something real. The goal is not to chase money. The goal is to become someone so valuable that money chases you. You are not here to compete for scraps. You are here to create abundance. And that begins the moment you take responsibility for what you can build with what you already have. You do not need more time. You do not need more followers. You do not need someone to give you a chance. You need to believe that the chance has already been given. It was given the moment you decided to take this seriously. The moment you stopped waiting. The moment you chose to move. There is no one coming. That is the bad news. But the good news is, you are already here. You are already enough. And if you stay consistent, stay focused, stay committed to doing the hard work that most people avoid, you will not only build wealth, you will build freedom. The kind of freedom that cannot be taken away. The kind of freedom that was earned, that was forged, that was chosen. So start today, not tomorrow, not next year, right now. One decision, one skill, one offer, one customer. That is how it begins. That is how it grows. That is how you turn clarity into impact, and impact into legacy.